And granted, this was probably has been in development for what, 5-6 years. Like, why not just, hey, single player game, we're going to tell our story and here we go. And if this is super successful, there's a lot of other Avenger stories we can tell. I think I would like that way more than, well, I guess I don't like this much that anyway, so it's not like it matters. It's whatever. Again, I know a lot of people are upset about the Spider-Man thing, but I'm like, I'm not going to play this, so I guess I don't care. So, all right. So let's go here. Hey, look, it's us.
It's us. We have a mature rating, so we us tonight.
Why are we mature again?
That would
I haven't said anything as mature in there. Like, I haven't been playing mature games. So I don't know why it says mature. I have not been playing any of those type of games on Steam, all right? If you want to look at my Steam library, you can. Haven't even touched them. That's a promise. Don't look at me that way, Devin. Don't look at me
Echo.
that way. Oh, it's because you have the volume on?
Should have been somebody.
Let's create an infinite loop. Your volume's super low on Twitch. This is how tests are done.
It is indeed. Check one. Let me check.
Nope, still low.
Remove
There are like I really wish in Streamlabs that they wouldn't put audio outputs for those things that don't need them. Like all the text and stuff. Those
Oh,
don't
there's
need audio
so
outputs.
many. Let's see if that helps. I put a new filter on there. Got rid of the noise gate that's normally there with my other microphone since I'm using a headset, and put a little gain on it.
Yep, that sounds good right there. Now our patrons are able to hear all that fun stuff. So that's how we test these things.
All
But
of
hey,
the
if
things.
we're not going to test them, then who is, right?
I
Not
don't
sure.
know.
Let's get the old Devon faces in there. Those are always fun. The old Devon face.
Always.
Oh, I have to remember for our timestamps that I've got to record our timestamps for when we curse and when Devon drops the F bomb.
What do I have here? Notifications.
Timestamps. Timestamp notification. We'll start that when we're ready to go. Katie, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Hopefully you are having a good night. So I have this stupid Fusion PowerA Fusion controller that I use, right? I got this thing. It's actually a really nice controller. It's got like the back paddles that are optional. You have one too?
Yeah, I bought 3 of them for my kids. The basic ones.
Okay, this
Because
is
they're like
like the
20
pro
bucks.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
this one's the pro one. The micro USB connections suck so bad. I
Really?
hate them. Like this one, like I don't know if my kids did something to it, but like if you barely touch the cord, like it's not going to do it now. It's going to make me a liar. Oh look, disconnected. Oh look, connected. Oh look, and it's super frustrating. Well, I'm glad that you think this is interesting, Kitty, because we try to be interesting and entertaining. Well, I try anyway. I don't know what Devin's deal is.
I try to be. Okay.
All right. Okay. Whoa, it's like you said it and then it typed it right there.
Yeah, it's a new magic thing I have.
How did you do this? How did we have dictation? Diction? Nope, diction's something
No, I
different.
just typed it in, and then I just said what I was typing. So.
Devin, how's your diction? Is your diction okay? Don't ask me that question.
Honestly. No. Can't
This
take
is
this
the
guy
thing that
anywhere.
these are the things that our patrons get. Um, and
Trying
hey,
to get
they
your
have to pay
father to
for it.
watch. Well, we better behave
My father, I don't know if my dad knows how to use a computer,
then. No,
which is kind of
gotcha.
funny. Oh, I'm trying to get my father to watch these. Whoops. Maybe I've got lag with my with my chair, which is weird. So speaking of dads and like not being technologically savvy, like my dad used to be all up on tech. We had like, do you remember when the Windows Stealth computer came out, Devin, with Windows 98? Maybe it was 95.
I think it was
Um,
95.
but that thing was like super fast at the time. It was the first time that they had pinball on a Windows computer, and everyone was like, "Oh, look how fast it is!" But I still remember, like, it still took forever to load that thing up. We're still waiting a super long time, but we're like, "This is so fast." Dad's being a bum and won't watch these. Say, "Don't be a bum." Yeah, bum, Rocky. All right, let's get this show started. So I think we're ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and you ready to go? Because I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
All right, so I'll go ahead and I'm going to start my timer here. I'm going to write some things down. Honest, what's going on? Honest says, the hell's an Xbox ambassador anyway?
Well, you see, honest, an Xbox ambassador is someone who you can turn to when you have questions about the brand. Now, it's just a program that anybody can sign up for within Xbox, and you just have to have a good track record. And you're basically like you can go and once you're at a certain level within the program, you can answer questions, provide feedback on the forums. They send you a lot of questionnaires and different things. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you answer people's questions on Twitter, right? Like if I had a
Yeah.
question like, "Hey, my Xbox won't turn on," and you ask Xbox support, they would kick that over to an ambassador.
Yep. Yeah. For some of the stuff, like you can log in and choose to answer questions on Twitter. There's also on their actual Xbox, forums where that stuff shows up and, ambassadors. We go and answer the questions and we basically get XP and level up. And then, the higher your level, the more stuff you can get in return. And you can also get prizes and those kind of things. So it's pretty fun.
So Devin's an ambassador.
I'm a platinum level, just so you know.
Very nice, very nice. You'll get to join those sweet parties. Kitty says you've been working all day trying to create a new character. Cool. And I have a busy schedule. Indeed. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm going to push this button and I'm going to hit a random clip.
No, no, sir. No, 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 no. No, 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 sir.
Oh, that's JD. Let's hit another random clip here.
Well, that's impossible.
You are listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 135 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running podcast that Devin and I do. That's truth. This is the longest running podcast
No
that
doubt.
we've done. Remember when we did that other podcast when we tried to have like
It-
6 people?
It actually came up on my Twitter feed earlier tonight that I should follow
did it-
them.
Did it
our
really?
our old podcast it popped up there because you follow him still, and
Right.
Justin still follows him. And I was like, oh yeah, that's there. It was like Six Gamers podcast or something. I don't.
You're
remember.
not supposed to tell people the name because then people can go and find it.
They can
and
go
that way-
find it. Find it. It's magic.
No, it's really really bad. It's a bunch of people. All right, so we can throw people under the bus here, right? We can do that since
They're not
you know,
here right
chances-
now. We can do.
Chances are Tim is not going to listen to this anyway, right?
I mean, he shows
so-
up when I stream, but I don't.
I guess that's true. But he likes you though. He doesn't like me very much. So, all right, 6 people played games with all the time. We played Destiny a lot together. We played Halo a lot together. And like I'm like, hey, I really want to do this podcast thing because I really enjoy podcasts and that's a lot of fun. It's like, and and granted, everybody thinks this. Everyone's like, man, we are really, really funny when we play games together, right? I'm sure everyone with the group of friends thinks they're hilarious. And granted, we were hilarious, not like
It's
everyone
true, no
else. We
doubt.
were. So we're like, let's do a podcast. So like, all right, we'll get this all set up, did the research, trying to figure out how to do this and do that. So start recording it. Now, granted, the idea sounds cool, but when you have people in that podcast playing games like Halo together while you're recording a podcast, giving call outs, makes it super difficult to have like a continuous story when people are like, on my 6, he's got me, he's throwing grenades. That made it really hard to do that podcast. So eventually that obviously got shut down quick. But it was a good learning experience, Devin. Good learning
It
experience.
was. Well, and then we tried stuff when we weren't playing games, and they're like, they don't really want to do that because they want to play games. Or just be me and you talking and four other people, you know, we throw a
Shooting
question
people
out to
in.
them and it's like, hello? Anybody?
Anybody? Is there anybody? I kind of like some of the hosts that we have. Say anyway. So let's go ahead and let's move on. And let's say this is episode 135. It is August the 13th of 2020, and hopefully 2020 will be gone pretty soon. Thank you to everyone that's hanging out with us in chat. Katie and Honest, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. All right. Really quick, we would like to thank our patrons that have been supporting the podcast for a really long time. I would like to thank Julius, Nathan B, Michael R, Trent B, Man and Still, Scout69, Dragonheart76, Jeffrey H, The Gameplay Experience, and RZ. Really quick, for people that do not know, if you join our Patreon for $1, you get access to 15-minute pre-show that we record all the time. And honestly, like, we've got some of the best content in that first 15 minutes, right, Devin? It's
That's
hilarious
true.
stuff, I promise. And
It's
you'll only hear
honest,
that if you're part.
unfiltered content that you won't find anywhere else.
That's true. You will not find it anywhere else except for on that Patreon.
Unless
So
Steve
go.
accidentally posts it to the wrong place.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So I did accidentally post that into our normal feed. A lot of people got that, but I was able to take it down and swap it out. So freebie, I guess, for everyone that was able to hear that, freebie. Won't happen again unless I want to drum up excitement for it. So pretty cool stuff over there. So thank you all to all our patrons. We really, really appreciate it. Also, this coming Monday, we will be putting up an interview that we did with Alex Beddoes of Counterplay Games. Counterplay Games is known for making The Duelist. That was a collectible card game, super cool pixel art card game. The lore is really fascinating. The art is amazing in that game. But that was later shut down because they made a deal with Bandai Namco, and that was not the best thing that happened to them. So they are now making the game Godfall. Godfall was one of the first PlayStation 5 games shown. It is in production. They're going to be releasing that along with the PlayStation 5. So we had a chat with Alex. We don't go over Godfall stuff just because he's not allowed to because of reasons. So we talk about him. He is a environment artist, and he works a lot on ArtStation, giving talks and stuff. Very cool interview. Just kind of got to talk to him about what he does, what he thinks of the industry, how he got in, what he likes about it, what he doesn't like about it. So it was a really cool interview. So that'll be going up Monday, and I hope everyone checks that out and everyone can enjoy that. All right, Devin, with all of that out of the way, what have you been doing this week? Because you were not with us last week, so I'm imagining you've been doing a lot of stuff. I keep pointing with my pencil here.
Yeah, Steven. I have pointed with my finger. No, I mean it's been difficult and rough a couple of weeks, month
What do you
really.
mean?
So yeah, last week I wasn't here, so my grandma had fallen down. And so she needed some assistance, and so I could.
Is she okay?
She's good. She's doing good. So she's she's all right now. But she kind of fell down outside and was stuck out in the sun for a little couple hours,
Man, that's sad. I
so-
feel bad.
But she's a strong alpha type female. Doesn't want help from anyone, so it's okay. But I love her just the same. All right, no, but no, I mean I've been busy with that. Been busy with some other family stuff that's been going on, but mostly, I mean, we talked a little bit about it in the pre-show, but I've been trying to work my way through Ghost of Tsushima, and I mean, I kind of give that like a couple hours a week of my time. So it's gonna take me a long time to finish it, which is frustrating because I would prefer to just finish it, but I also don't have the time, or I do, but I just choose to do other things. But mostly, I've been playing Master Chief Collection, going through co-op campaign, just having a good time going through on Legendary, and
So were you going through the Master Chief campaign because Halo Infinite was going to be coming out soon? Or were you just going through it again just because you enjoy going through it?
I was just going through it just to replay it, just because it's fun listening. Like I'm listening to the books again when I'm driving around. Well, I guess technically those are the first time I've listened to them because when they first came out, I just read all the books. But
Right.
spoiler alert: the guy that reads the first couple Halo books is horrible. Um, but you kind of get used to him, and you're like, yeah, here he is. He's real stupid with your HUDs. Okay, ONI. But yeah, so it's can be frustrating at times. But no, I was listening to those, and then I just wanted to keep playing through the campaigns. Initially, it was like, oh, let me play through Halo 5 just to kind of catch up, before Halo Infinite. But now it's just like, even before the news that we'll talk about here in just a minute, it was still like, well, I just want to play through them. Some of them I haven't, like Halo 3 ODST, I never replayed. And so,
Like the campaign, you mean? You've never
yeah, I
went
never
back.
replayed the campaign after I did it the first
Well, I
time.
guess it didn't have multiplayer because it was all
It had
Halo 3
Firefight.
multiplayer.
So,
Right.
so I did a lot of Firefight, but I never really went back through and played through the campaign. Um, and so we started that again, like we did last Friday. Got through 7 out of the 11 missions on Legendary in like 3 hours, 3.5, 3 hours,
How many people playing?
4.
So there's 4 of you. So okay.
Yeah. So some of the games you can only have 2 players, and other ones you can have 4. So like Halo CE and Halo 2, you can only have 2 players. So I haven't done
Right.
any of those yet, but
So Katie asked, wasn't Halo 5 like Halo Reach a standalone? So it was not. Halo 5 was part of the mainline story. So
yeah.
Reach and ODST were kind of standalone. But I don't know if you can call Reach standalone because it really is part of the Master Chief story.
I mean, it is, and I mean, it's complicated, right? Because the game doesn't follow the book, but both of them are canon, and which is really weird because of how
Have they
things
ever
happen.
have they ever officially said like which one is more canon?
No, they just said both of them are canon, and they didn't want to fix that mess. I guess I don't know.
Which is fine, I guess, because I really enjoy Reach. I think Reach is one of my favorites. Granted, that's like the one that I really like. Hey, this is the when I
Yeah.
started my Halo journey was with Reach, and then I played through all the games after that. So I mean, that's just me personally, but
Yeah, for me, like
Reach is really good.
Reach was really frustrating because it didn't follow the book that really hooked me into the Halo series. I mean,
Right.
playing the game was fun, and I enjoyed the multiplayer, but the Fall of Reach book was what really hooked me on the lore for Halo, and really, got me into the series as a whole. And so when that game came out, we were all expecting one thing, and they did a switcheroo on us. But
Yeah. So Katie says, but Halo 3 was after Reach, and there's a line by Buck saying it's going to turn out like Reach. So chronologically, the games released with Combat Evolved 2, 3, ODST, and then Reach. But
Yeah.
Reach in the timeline is before Halo
CE.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Reach chronologically is the first game. Then it goes 1, 2, 3. ODST happens at the same time as 3, right, Devin?
Yep. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
similar, like right in the close time frame. And yeah, that one it's funny because your weapons, they make your weapons worse. Um, I mean, they're cool weapons, but they make them kind of suck, which is weird. So, and you
Yeah.
have night vision that you can turn off and on whenever you want as an ODST, but I don't as a Spartan, which is really frustrating.
Well, sometimes your Molnar just doesn't get all those fancy upgrades. But I'm really surprised that you're going back to that while you still have Ghost. But like you said, you'd rather be playing with friends. But
Yeah.
also, like you bought a PlayStation 4 to play Ghost specifically, and you're like ignoring it.
I know that's what's I don't know. It's because when I play in games with my friends, I'm usually texting with them every day. We're chatting about stuff, and they know when I'm gonna play, and they're like, "Oh, what are we playing tonight?" So I can't be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna play on the PlayStation and not talk to any of you or play with you." So, um,
I mean, you could like get your Xbox headset on while you're playing Ghost and talk to them, right? You could do that.
I could, but then I wouldn't be able to hear the game because I play everything with a headset. So,
I guess yeah, that makes sense. I guess you could put if you have AirPods, you could put those in, connect
so
those to your computer, then put headphones on over that, and then you could do it that way. Well,
yeah,
hopefully,
I
Devin, you
could.
get to Ghost and you finish that up because a lot of people are really enjoying that game and you were super excited about it. So,
Mhm.
So real quick, the things I have been doing, I have finally been able to play some Horizon Zero Dawn, and I will give some of my thoughts on it. Now, this is kind of tricky because when we talk about spoilers, this game has been out for like 3-ish years, but it's also new to PC, so a lot of PC players haven't played it. So I'm not going to really give spoilers. So I'll just talk about some high-level stuff. I am really, really enjoying the game. Hey, Rusted, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out with us. So I'm enjoying Horizon a lot. I think there are some technical issues on the PC, but it doesn't like distract me at all from playing the game. I think like the enemy art design is really, really cool. And I think the one reason that I really like this game, Devin, is because I think it's what I wanted Anthem to be.
Mm.
Anthem was a dangerous world that you go out in, you could possibly die every time. And that's kind of the feeling that you get from Horizon. There's a lot of these small communities that leaving these communities is super dangerous and you have to be trained or else you'll probably die when you go out there. It's alien and it's different. And granted, Horizon Zero Dawn, like this isn't a huge spoiler. Like it takes place in the future. It's a post-apocalyptic world that you find a lot of ruins and those ruins are human, right? So it's an alien world. It's a lot of fun. The combat is really tactical. I know there's a lot of videos where you watch people just going in and they're shooting like a bow and arrow like they're Laura Croft or something. But I've been taking it like kind of a really slow tactical approach. And really I've been like, I don't do this a lot in normal games, but I've been collecting every single thing that I see as I walk by it. Like I think I have like 400 sticks in my backpack that I just carry around. Maximum number of Lara, sorry. See, Devin, when we were growing up, it was Laura Croft, right?
Yeah.
Like it was always Laura Croft. When it was first began, it was Laura Croft. But then for some reason, somewhere in there, they changed it to Lara. And that's just my very old brain, like automatically going Laura. So if I say Laura, not
I think
Lara,
that was just how
I
they
apologize.
pronounced it. I think it was always spelled like Lara, but the way they enunciated her name, you know, I don't know.
But also, like, there was no enunciation in the PS1 days.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Just
like
like
there
a
was voice
commercial or
acting in those.
whatever. I don't know.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm really enjoying Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm excited to get more time into it, like learning about all the creatures, and there's like tons of lore to find in that game, and I'm really enjoying it. So I suggest, Devin, after you beat Ghosts, someday, somewhere, you find the time to play Horizon. I think I don't even know if you would like it. I don't know if it's the game that you would like. Would it be a
So,
game that
I mean, my problem again, still, it's like even just thinking about Ghosts and how much I love the aesthetic and everything else. It's like unless I can get time where I can just play it for, you know, 20, 30
20 hours
hours
at one time
in
and
in
finish
that
it and be
week,
done?
like I'm probably never gonna finish. Like I even think about like when put 60 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That was because it was a holiday. I was off and I was home, and my kids were littler and they were doing whatever, different things, and so I was able to put in, multiple hours a day each day, and it was during the day because I was at home. And then at night I would play games with my friends. And so I'm like, am I ever going to finish that? And it's like, I honestly, if I think about it, I probably not. I don't know. Unless I can find that time and I don't know. And then even with, Horizon looks awesome. I definitely want to play it, but again, I'm just like, well, if I get it, I probably won't have the time to actually complete it because I want to be able to play it during the day, and I need to do that within like a week or two, or I'm just
Right.
gonna be like feel guilty about playing that instead of playing games with my friends. I don't know, it's weird.
See, and I think that's what you need to get over. I think you need to be like, hey guys, I just need to play this game, get it out of my system, and then I'll play with you. Like, you guys will be fine without me. You'll probably lose all your multiplayer games without me. That's fine, but you can stand to do that for a weekend, right? I
I
mean,
just feel
you might,
bad, when I don't play with my friends, because I
I
give
think
them
they'll be
crap all the
okay.
time when they don't show up. Because nothing makes me madder than when you set something up and then people don't show up. So
Hey, Michael, how's it going? I see what you did there, Devin. I see what you did there. But I think your friends will get over it because they're adults too. And sometimes, I mean, how many times can you play Halo 5 SWAT? You could probably play that a lot. Anyway, so Horizon Zero Dawn, I am going to play it more. I will have more in-depth thoughts on it later, but I'm actually really loving the game. I think I'm I'm comparing a lot of it to Control because Control is one of my favorite games in recent memory, and I'm drawing comparisons to that. Not only because like it's a female and protagonist that's a redhead, but like Ashley Birch is it Ashley Birch? Devin is Ashley Birch the voice actress for Aloy? Let's see. I believe it is. And then Courtney Hope is the voice actress for Jesse Faden from Control, and they sound very similar. So I'm comparing those a lot because those experiences are very different from games that I normally play. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm really excited about it. I'm very interested to see how that game ends because I was able to stay very spoiler free. Well, not even that. Like, I think at the time when I would listen to everyone talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, it's just been so long that I kind of forgot what people had talked about. So it's kind of like I'm going in blind, but I kind of know like some story beats, but I'm excited to do that. Then second thing that I have been doing, and this is something that we've been talking about a lot, so I felt like I had to do this. We've been talking a lot about video games where you don't just shoot things, and creators making things that are different than just go shoot the mans, right? So earlier this week, Fall Guys, I think everyone knows about Fall Guys. Everyone's been talking about Fall Guys. So I said to myself, if I keep talking about people making games that don't just involve shooting, I better put my money where my mouth is and support someone that has been doing this. So I picked up Fall Guys today. I played a couple matches. I watched my kids play a couple matches, and I totally get why this game is blowing up everywhere. I totally like granted that it being on part of PlayStation Plus and getting it for free and having about 9 million, 8 million people there has made a huge difference in this game, very much like Rocket League. But I totally see the fun in it. It is not something that is like super serious at all. Like when you do fall and when you do not place, it's not that big of a deal. You just go back in and you play again. And you don't feel like you've been screwed over. It's just like in the controls, there's enough wonkiness to be like you kind of have full control, but then sometimes you don't. So when you do fall, it's like you don't feel like you've been cheated, if that makes sense. It feels like, okay, I can just do this again and let's get back in there. It's super quick. There's enough people in there so that you can jump back in. So Katie says like Gang Beast. I don't know what Gang Beast is, but
Did
so
you
this would it's all. Go
did you
ahead.
see the video where of the guy? It was all over for a little bit where he was playing and he got to the finish line and the guy waited at the finish line and then threw him off the map and eliminated him.
Yep. Yeah, and there is some trolling that can go on, which kind of adds to the like the memeness of the game. But like I totally get it. Like this is a battle royale, and I don't even know if they want to call it a battle royale. It's more of like a Mario Party like obstacle course, right? Because you're not really you can like knock people off, you can hit people off, but it's a fun game with a very quick loop.
Yep.
Like I am excited to play more. I'll probably still play some more Horizon, but before I play this, but my kids were like loving it and they were just laughing when they would fall off. And because the physics are just like your little wobbly bean, and I think that adds a lot to it. That you're just like this round little bean character getting knocked around, running around. There's tons of people like at the beginning of the map is like a motocross race where everyone's just like right off the line going. So I totally get why this game is successful. I'm super glad that it is. I mean, it hit top numbers on Twitch, like blowing out all the games that are normally up there, like Fortnite. So, like, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to play more, and I hope that more people make interesting games that don't just involve shooting mans in the face. And that's all I have to say about that. So, are you interested in picking it up at all, Devin?
I mean, it looks interesting, but because all my kids would want to play it, that I can't get it basically until it's like if it ever comes to the Xbox ecosystem, then I could pick it up. But because I know they would just fight and because they would all want to play, that
Right.
it's not worth me picking it up at the moment because I know it would just cause problems for my kids.
Yeah. That and that is kind of frustrating because like it's a game that they would all want to play at the same time,
Mhm.
right? It's like, hey, we want to play this because you can put four-person co-op, but being able to set that up on the computer, like I told my kids, it's like, look, you die, you pass the controller. That's it. Like none of this two turns things. Like you just pass it. And it's a game that you're right. It would be awesome to be able to play on your Xbox. Hopefully it comes. I cannot imagine that it wouldn't come to Xbox sometime in the future. I'm sure that Sony would love
I'm
for it to
guessing
be an
Sony
exclusive for years.
has a year minimum because that's what they like to do for the
I mean, that's
players.
Rocket League was on Xbox or was on PlayStation for a really long time before it came over
Yeah,
to
it was a
Xbox.
year
Yeah.
or almost
So
2
Katie,
years, I think.
yeah, so we did not fire Mike. Mike ended up having to do something tonight, so he's not with us. JD joins us once a month if there's Anthem news to talk about. So that's why it's just Devin and I. We're two manning this raid here. So yeah, I hope everyone picks up Fall Guys and has a lot of fun with it. Yeah, we can totally do this. We can two man this raid. Crota, yeah, we can do that. All right, Devin, shall we jump into the news because I think we got a lot of news to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
Let's have a random clip and then Keanu bring us in.
Well, that's impossible.
All right. I gotta talk to you about something.
Extra, this just in. Halo Infinite delayed to 2021. Now we'll turn it over to our news correspondent in the field who is being distracted by a wandering child on the set. These wandering children, they have been a problem in the past, and hopefully they will stop in the future. Devin, tell us, man, like Halo Infinite delayed to 2021. What is going on at 343 Industries?
Well, they're all working from home. It's a global pandemic. And I mean, they have another studio working with them that's been working with them for a while. And technically, I guess they've been working with other studios on Master Chief Collection. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. They had to make a tough decision, right? Could not have been easy for them. And even like Phil Spencer, he was on that Animal Crossing show last night or whatever.
With Gary Whitta.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an easy decision. Yeah, it's a bummer." He's like, "We talked about releasing, you know, the game in parts, but instead we just chose to delay the entire game until next year, and so they can put more time and energy into it because they want it to meet their own vision. I mean, they knew they had things to work on, but they had kind of hoped they would be able to I mean, nobody envisioned the pandemic going on for this long or even the pandemic at all, right? So the final year of most big games is a big time for a lot of things to come together, and trying to get it all to come together, this
is
year
difficult.
is difficult, so yeah, it was. I was pissed off at first, honestly. I mean, I was frustrated for about 5 seconds, and I was like, that's all right.
So I think there's a couple of interesting things because even before it was right after the release of the Halo Infinite trailer that we got, there was the rumor going around. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me to point this out, Katie. I've got to write this tag down. I totally missed it for the last one, so sorry everyone for my timestamps are going to be way off. Whoops, my bad. I'm new at this. So right after that happened, they were like, hey, there's this rumor that multiplayer is going to be separate. And then they squashed that super fast.
Well, no, they had said that it wasn't ready for launch. That was the rumor, that it wouldn't be ready for launch.
Which also, like, now that this stuff has come out, like, it probably wasn't if there were talks about splitting it up, right? I mean, they wouldn't talk about splitting it up unless there was some bigger issue going on. And that could have just been, like, that's neither here nor there, but it's interesting to hear that there might have been some validity to that rumor, even though they squashed it super fast. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, if something was going to come out this year, it would be multiplayer, and then they would delay the campaign and put that out.
I think that would definitely be the right choice. Like, if you had a choice to put campaign over multiplayer out, you do the multiplayer. You don't put the campaign out and then have the multiplayer section come out later. You do multiplayer first, work on the campaign. Like, So here's a couple things. Like I've heard a lot of different opinions on this. One opinion from someone in the community is like everyone on Twitter's been like, "Oh, I'm so glad, like congratulations, like congratulating, 343 for making this decision, right? Like, hey, I'm glad that you made this decision." But one of our community members is like, "Why is everyone like so happy that they're congratulating them? Just like it should be like, hey, we messed up, we're delaying it and then move on." So they were upset that like they seem to be like getting like these big accolades like, hey, you made the right choice, congratulations for making the right choice, because this was the obvious choice, right? You have to delay it. You can't release it as is, especially after the Master Chief Collection fiasco.
Yeah,
There's
so I
no way that you
mean,
can put that
I
out.
think the whole reason is like the amount of pressure and everything else that was on 343. It was like for the last 2 years they've been hyping this game up. Then it was, oh, it's gonna launch with the new Xbox. So that just sheer amount of pressure, you know, uh, like how do you just, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no easy way to make this decision because after there's no Halo, then there's no tentpole big title coming out with the Series X. You're launching a new Xbox, which is fine. I mean, even back in March, Phil Spencer said the Xbox is going to come out with or without Halo, irregardless. So I mean, even then they knew they had. I'm guessing they knew they had work to do. Um,
Right.
but I don't know. I mean, it's for me, it's good that they delayed it mostly because there's other games that I wanted to play, and I was like,
Yeah.
when Halo comes out, I'm not gonna play anything else. I'm just gonna play Halo, and so I was like, well, that kind of sucks for me because I want to play those other games, but at the same time, I just want to play Halo, you know. So
Yeah,
I was
and
happy.
like you said, like that's the big thing. Like buy a Series X, play Halo, in its best quality that you can, because you're going to be able to play it on Xbox One. So that adds a different question. If they're going to delay it, how long of the delay is it going to be?
Mhm.
Like, are they going to delay it till November of 2021? Is it going to be March 2021? Is it going to be a summer release? Because big games do not get released in the summer. Like big games, like Halo, like Call of Duty, they get saved for holiday of that year
Yeah.
when they have the biggest sales. So do they wait a year? And if they do wait a year, like that's a whole extra year. Granted, that's like part of that's going to be COVID development, which is apparently is a big hurdle for 343. And I'm not trying to like minimize like how hard that is, because it is probably very difficult for a massive team like 343 Industries that has 400 500 people like working on this. It's not like, Counterplay Games has 70 people. It's a lot easier to manage that boat during COVID than to manage the giant vessel that is 343 Industries all through Zoom. So, what do you think? I mean, do they wait a whole extra year and just spend that time polishing and updating the graphical fidelity of the game?
Yeah. So my personal opinion would be I would prefer them to release it like next November to wait, the full year. But to go along with that, to where they drop, I mean, Digital Foundry did a video. They kind of talked about this, and even before that, I kind of had the same feelings where it's just like, drop the current gen consoles because that's what's really holding the game back. And if they wait till next year, they're going to be going up against uh, next gen only Battlefield, next gen only Call of Duty,
Call of
you
Duty.
know, and where they're not worried about trying to get the game to run on a launch Xbox One from 2013. Uh, I think, they can put multiplayer on everything, right? Free to play multiplayer, because that's going to be kind of separate. And just
Yeah.
because, I mean, Call of Duty did that as well when that stuff came out. I think, I forget which game it was, but they had multiplayer on last gen stuff, and they had the campaign on the next gen with the multiplayer. Um, Obviously, it's not ideal, but eventually they're going to have to leave that stuff, that generation behind anyways, because this is supposed to be a platform for like the next 10 years for Halo. And so, I mean, eventually you have to leave that behind and stop developing for it because it's going to hold back the technology and everything else that you can do, just like Destiny did, and these other games that uh, are around for a long time, and they're, you know going to be a place where you can jump in and play, for a very long time. You can't just keep, old console stuff around because it's just going to hold it back. So
Well, I think this is something that you and I talked about like in 2011 when we were talking about Halo and where Halo is going. It's like eventually you're going to have to separate these out so that they can both have room to breathe. Because previously it was, all right, we have to develop this multiplayer, this campaign, we have to do it together. There's very little evolution of the campaign ever. We're
yeah,
going to only make maps. But like separating it out, leaving Xbox One behind because really they have to. I mean, they can still develop for the Series S, which is going to be a little bit less powerful, but you have to leave this generation behind if with this delay. Even if you release it in March, like I don't think there's any way that they release in March. I don't think this
yeah.
like how many times did they delay Last of Us and Cyberpunk? They've been delayed for like
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk's
was
been
for
delayed for
over a
like over
year.
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just leave it behind. I think everyone would be more happy to play a better looking Halo
Mhm.
when they're ready to put it out than a rushed out Halo. I think Miyamoto's famous quote is a rushed game is always bad, but a delayed game is potentially good or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Bioware knows, right? But shots fired. But
Wow, shots fired to Bioware. Let's play a random
Let's
clip for
finish this
them.
damn thing.
Hey, look at that. That was Mike Gabby from Bioware. Thanks, Mike, for making an appearance.
but no, I mean, honestly, like that year, I mean, I wouldn't even be bothered if it was, I mean, even further out. Because I
It
mean,
can't be further out. 7-year development time?
so here's the problem, right? So it was supposed to come out on the Xbox One X, right? And
Right.
it was being built for current gen consoles, and that's why like nothing really is, next gen. They didn't even showcase ray tracing or anything else, and um, yeah, I mean, a, a year gives them time to do testing, to do their flight testing that they want to do, that they need to do. I mean, Halo 5, we had a multiplayer beta a year before the game came out. There hasn't been
And we
any
haven't heard
betas at
anything.
all for Infinite, and they've only confirmed that it's a lot harder to even try and do that when we're all at home and not in the office. Which again, I think is eventually something's gonna have to change for that. Like, I mean, if they're gonna have to do things like where they have specific teams that are in a bubble, or I don't know, where they do COVID testing and those kind of things, so that they can get back in and accomplish things. Because working for home can work for a lot of things, but games of this size and everything else, I don't really think uh, that kind of environment is conducive to make it all mesh, and get it
Yeah.
all going. Not that I'm saying that they should put their lives on the line or risk themselves for us. I mean, obviously that's why they can have all this testing and everything else and whatnot. But I think at least a year would be extremely beneficial. And dropping current gen consoles um, for campaign and just having it only have multiplayer. And even with the multiplayer, it can be like a toned down part of multiplayer, like say just do arena type stuff where it's 4v4. Um, or even, like uh, something similar in size to what we have now for Halo 5. We don't know how big, the multiplayer is going to be. I mean, it has to have some kind of battle royale or some kind of large scale battles, because that's just something that's basically required right now in the
It's
industry.
expected now.
Yeah, I mean, it's expected, and
Yeah.
it's something that they'll have to compete with. And if they don't have it, then they're not going to be able to
And
compete.
right, unless they come up with something that's, completely different and that kicks off like some, the chase of what's next.
Yeah.
Because eventually there has to be something that's after battle royales. It can't
Mhm.
just be battle royale from here on out. There's going to be some sort of innovation where everyone pivots, and maybe they come up with that. I'm not sure. But it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, so that is like Halo news. That's, like I really hope that they nail it. Like whatever they do, I hope that the campaign is fun because I really enjoy the Halo story. So I want more of that story.
Well, and
So
really, they haven't shown us a lot. And so even if they delayed it a full year, it's like, they normally give us teases and different things and can kind of go into more development. I think this way they could actually. I mean, the hype levels were pretty high, and then with the demo they showed and everything else, it just crumbled and
Yeah.
self-destructed. But this, if they have a year where they can show us features, they can do test flighting, they can highlight multiplayer, and yeah, I mean they got kind of screwed by that Irish toy website who leaked,
A
took their
pretty
thunder.
huge detail.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
huge detail, free to play multiplayer, and I mean those are still cool things. That's really exciting. But I would even go so far as like even on PC to require a solid state drive. It's never, these consoles are never going to have the big difference if they don't just use solid state drive. That's where the PlayStation has an advantage with that technology because they don't have to worry about that. Whereas the Xbox, they're still working on PC, and PC is just as bad as the current gen consoles when it comes to hard drives. So
Yeah. Unless you got them sweet. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. We'll talk about our next thing here. I'm going to push the button. I'm going to write down this timestamp so we can get all nice. So, despite Halo being delayed, we are still going to have an Xbox Series launch this November. Devin, what are we playing on the Xbox Series X this
Well, there
November?
are thousands of games, Stephen, if you should want to know. No, I mean, so that's the thing that they're really going to have to highlight and show us within the next couple months of what I mean, they're going to have like, I think there's 100 games that are optimized for Series X, and that includes, current gen games that are coming, or being put on the Series X, but it has, back compatibility with everything that you could play on the one and as well as the other titles that they've made from the prior generations. But really, the big, you know, tentpole titles like we talked about is not there, and so that's what they're gonna have to show us. Like for people, I mean, I'm still gonna get it day one, regardless. So, because there's stuff to play, and it's still gonna play the games that I want to play better. It's still gonna play Cyberpunk better. It's gonna play Assassin's Creed better. Cyberpunk, while it won't have the full next gen update, it's still going to run the game better than it would on my One X. And the Series X is more powerful than my main computer currently, so why not?
So that's the place. Yeah. So that's the place where you get the most power for the cheaper amount.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Because I had a question, and it was a good question, and I think I distracted myself. And it was about the new marketing that they've been touting after they announced that Halo was not coming was the exact thing that you just mentioned. Hey, you can play thousands of games across 4 generations of consoles. So, and whereas I think that's cool, that how often do we go back to those old games? It's not very often. Granted, we don't often go back to play old games. So it is kind of a cool buzzword to say, hey, these are all backwards compatible. But for me, who has decided not to buy a Series X this generation anyway, because also, like, we don't know how short these generations are going to be.
Yeah.
This generation was very, very long compared to all the other generations
I
that we've
mean,
had.
the 360 and PS3 was longer,
How
right?
long were
So
those generations?
that one was like 8+ years. So I mean, this
Like,
one's almost as long, right? But
because
that one was over
we're
8 years. It was a ridiculously
was it
long
really?
time.
Let's see. Let's do some quick research. PlayStation 3 generation. Let's see. They went from 2006 was the original to 2012 was the Super. Wow, that was a really long time.
Yeah,
That was a super long generation.
well, and normally it's like before that you could count on like every four to
Every
five
five
years it
years,
was a new
there would be
console,
something new coming out.
and that one ran like almost 8 years because 2013 was when, and also Xbox came out a year before the PlayStation 3. So,
Huh. So like, who knows what they're going to do now? I mean, I'd imagine that they would start getting shorter and shorter, especially if like Microsoft is building their stuff this way to be, hey, everything can go here. I mean, they could just bring out a Series X2. I don't know what their naming conventions are going to be, but they could just bring out another one that's a little bit more powerful with new stuff, like a
Series
couple
X
years
Pro.
down the road. And then it'll like, hey, now play on the Series X Pro where everything plays better and you can still play all those games. So I don't know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
but like my computer is still going to be a little bit better than the Series X. So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to go the PS5 route. That way I can enjoy the best of both worlds. And then we'll go from there. But, you're an ambassador, Devin. How could you not buy it? I'm surprised they're not going to send you one for free. Like, you're platinum ambassador. Here you go. Take this box and go play with this box.
I mean, there's chances for me to win one for free, but
I guess, like, good luck on your chance to win that. So, yeah, this November, you'll be able to play all the games that you're playing now on your Series X, and it'll look better doing it. And you'll be able to play with the new controller that was leaked because someone either stole a controller from a warehouse and then started selling them, and someone got the Series X controller that's also compatible with the Series S, which confirmed that the Series S is actually a thing. So, hey, all the rumors are probably true that there's going to be a Series S, and most likely they're going to talk about it next month and not this month.
yeah.
Which, I mean, we're getting really close to that launch, and we have not heard a lot of information on anything.
I guess we're like holding the games, the consoles to a different standard. Most technology nowadays is like announced and then launched 2 weeks later. Obviously, yes, people know these consoles are coming, so if you're going to buy one, you should have money set aside for it anyways. But I mean, that's the huge thing. Like we buy, $1,000, $1,300 phones, 2 weeks after they're announced. You pre-order them and you buy them and do all those things. And I think, I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, they announced the console's coming out in November. We've also seen some leaks from game store employees who have boxes where it says "Do not display or sell before November 6th," right? And with reference to the Xbox. So that, could be the date. That could change. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind at all if they don't even give us a price until 2 weeks before, because then it's not like, oh, I have to wait for forever. It's like we already know it's coming out. I don't know why. I don't really need the price right now. I mean, it doesn't matter to me because of their Xbox. Shoot, I just had a brain fart on their name.
Their Amazon thing that they can do where you can subsidize the cost.
Yeah,
kind
where
of like a
I mean, they're
cell
gonna do
phone.
it basically like a cell phone, where you pay a monthly fee and you get Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and the console, and it's a 2-year deal. And you can do that through Amazon, you can do that through Microsoft, you can do that through Dell, you can do that through Best Buy.
Dude, you're getting Adele?
No,
You're not
but
getting Adele? I thought,
no.
or is it Adele like hello?
Hello.
Not that Adele.
No, not that Dell.
Different Adele.
But no, I think that's a big thing for their strategy and their plan is like, yeah, you can have this, but you can just get it on a monthly plan. Everything's all included in like $20 or $30, a month, and people are more than happy to buy brand new phones every 2 years because it's like, oh, I only have to pay $30. It's whatever.
Right. So let me ask you, and let me ask chat, how much do you think Series X and PS5 will be? Like how much, like not talking about Lockhart, how much will the PS5 be and how much will the Series X be? And where is that limit to where you say I'm not paying that? So Rusted in the chat says $500. Michael says 1 million Australian. What is the Australian currency? What do they use over in Australia? Did they use something like, I don't know. I shouldn't say anything like super offensive. Because I'm going to watch my tongue, all right? Because we have two Australian dollary dues. You liar, Rusty.
Dollary dues.
Don't you
They're
try
like
to convince me
kangaroos.
that you call them dollary dues. All right. So in Australia, that's 1 million dollary dues. Michael says it's all good. It's Australian law to make fun of anything. That's the D in Australian dollary dues. Oh, it's just the Australian dollar. That's what it is. It's the Australian dollary dues.
And they're made of plastic
right,
and have pictures of the Queen and other stuff.
So we have two Australians in chat. Michael and Rusted are both Australian. Rusted is a expat Australian, moved to Japan. So Rusted says 500. Devin, what's your price limit? Because I will be honest. I will be super surprised and really, really disappointed if they are more than $400.
Like, if you look at the technology that's in there, I would say $500 is like a smoking deal. A current gen CPU, a current gen GPU that can do ray tracing, that is more, powerful than like a 2080. which that card alone right now is like $700-800 just for the graphics card. Doesn't include the memory, anything else that comes with it. There are some people that think because they're not telling the price that they're, neither one of them wants to break the bad news that it's gonna be like $600. But I think they're crazy to go over $500. I would like, Microsoft to be like, oh, the Series X is $400 and the Series S is $200. And
$200 cheaper than the Nintendo Switch.
yeah, I mean, Nintendo's products are overpriced always. So
Okay.
I mean, that's just how it is because they have a huge blind loyalty. I mean, we were both there. We know, all right? We've
Yeah,
been
we
there.
both bought 3DSs on day one.
Yeah,
We were
and
both
we
there,
got
and we
screwed.
both did that.
Yeah.
No,
we
they
got
gave us
screwed.
10 games, Devin. They
Whatever.
gave us
10
games that
10
they
pieces
didn't
of
give to
crap
anyone
games.
else. I will come over there and I will punch you right in the pants if you call Link's Awakening a piece of crap game.
I mean,
I will
it was a
take all
direct
your
port.
dollar.
All right,
I'll
it was
take
a
all your
direct
dollar
port.
redues.
There's nothing
all your
special
dollar
about
redues
an old
somewhere
game,
else.
Steven. Remember, you said we don't go back and play old games, all right? But
I said normally we don't.
yeah,
I did not say we never do.
we were
I would
both
never
pissed off.
say
It's fine. We were both
it's
upset
fine. It's
at
true.
what they did because they made us mad. But no, I think $200 difference isn't that. I mean, from everything that the insiders are saying, is basically Microsoft is and because they don't have any huge games right now, what better way to attract people to your ecosystem? Yeah, Game Pass, and you can get into next gen for $200, right, or $250. And but I would prefer it, to where it's really like cut Sony's throat and just undercut the crap out of him.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So,
I gotta get
and
my
this,
blood
and
in somewhere. No,
I guess so. And this is my thinking. Like, PlayStation 4 launches at $400 2 weeks before the series, before the Xbox One X, and completely destroys out of the gate anything Microsoft does.
Yeah.
400 price tag is a huge deal. Xbox One launched with the Kinect attached to it, jacked up that price to 100, totally screwed them over. All that other stuff that happened. Like, PlayStation 3 was $600. It took them the entire generation to finally catch up at that point after the 360 just completely ate their lunch. And we had the reversal this generation. Like, there's no way they're going to have to take a loss. I know no one wants to take a loss on these things. They want to make money, but you're going to have to make that up on your software sales. And you know what? Sony will for sure make that up on their software sales. Their first party developers are destroying it. They're killing it. They make amazing first party games that sell, that will make up that price difference, especially if you have that massive install base of PS4s. Insane install base. Now you're going to release games that will only come out on PS5. How do you get people to give that up and move on to the next thing? It has to be affordable, and you have to have something to attract, to buy that. Right now, it's only Forbidden West. We don't know when that's going to come out.
Yeah, I mean, the only
Miles
game
Morales,
that they've shown off
launch.
that's first party that has a release date is Miles Morales, right? Spider-Man, which says holiday 2020. Nothing else, not even the Ratchet and Clank game, has a release date. So we have no idea what's launching, first party wise with the PlayStation besides Spider-Man, and even that one, while it's going to be great, it's a 5 to 10 hour game, which is totally fine. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So SJ says PS5 will be $500, the Series X will be $400, and the Series XS, the Xbox Series S, will be $300 at the minimum. I think I'm like leaning more towards SJ's way of thinking, just because it lines up with my way of thinking. We don't know anything about the lock card. I'm guessing the lock card is not going to have a disk drive. It's going to be mainly for xCloud streaming and all digital. Because really, if you do set that up as like, hey, this is the streaming box, you don't need it to be as powerful because you're going to be streaming stuff anyway, right?
Well, so there's also rumors of a streaming only box that's like $100, right? To make things even more confusing for people. So
good.
Where it's just like, here's xCloud, kind of doing the Google Stadia thing, where it's like it's $100. Here's a little box, you get a controller, and it's all streaming, and that's all it does, right? For xCloud. But I think really like with the Series S, yeah, they can go discless, but
What did you say they could go?
discless.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something different.
And
That was going to be
I
a
think
different
they want to
conversation.
make it to where that's like in the price of a easy impulse buy, right? Where $250 to $300 is for a console is pretty close to that impulse buy range.
Especially if they package it with a controller.
Yeah, well, and
Then that's
so
a no-brainer.
I think that's why they might eat more money because it's like put it at $249.99 and really differentiate it. It's like okay, we can. I mean, because they don't care if you're buying the Series X or the Series S or if you're playing games on your PC or on your phone. They just want you in the ecosystem. But an easy way for people to get in there, even if they're hardcore Sony fans that want Xbox to die and want to cut my throat when they see me.
There's
The
a lot of
internet's a
those,
sketchy place,
so
man. But
watch your back.
it's like $250. Why would you not? Why would you not get that? It's gonna play 1080p games. Um, you know, I don't know.
Because they don't have any games.
They have thousands of games that you can play.
They have Frenzy Fusion, Fusion Frenzy. Frenzy Fusion is the back
They have
version of
all
that
their
game.
current
So
first-party games, right? A lot of
I
those
know,
are
I
getting
know, I
updates.
know. I am trying to. We're getting the whole picture here,
Mm.
not just. That's all I'm saying. But I agree. Like I think, especially this generation, these manufacturers are set up to be the kings of their space,
Mhm.
right? Xbox is going to be the king of Game Pass, of small games that you can play whenever you want. And they're going to make money doing that. Sony is going to be the king of first party titles and getting exclusives that no one else can get. Okay. They're going to be the kings of doing that
Oh, people could get
because
them.
they're
They
going to
just don't
go
want
to,
to pay the money for it.
well, I mean, they're asking for a lot of money, which is fine. Nintendo's going to be the king of being Nintendo, of having good first party Mario
I
games,
mean,
Zelda
if
games,
they
and
had
having
a
crappy
console
online
that was
services.
just a home console that was $300, but it was better than the Switch, I would buy that. No issues right there at all.
I
But
mean, but they're not interested in doing that at all. Anyway, so
yeah, and that's
it's a
why I
great
hate them.
time to own all three systems. Buy a PlayStation 5, get Game Pass, have xCloud to play all those games there. You can do that. And buy Switch if you want to buy Switch. Remember the time when they burned you when you bought a 3DS at launch. All right, let's go ahead and move on because the
I
Devin's
mean, I
getting a
have a
little
Switch,
heated over
so
here. I know you have a Switch.
it
I
collects
still
a
don't
lot of
have a Switch.
dust because I
I should
always
have
leave
one.
it in the dock.
Devin, Fall Guys is the thing that we talked about previously because
Yeah,
I
we
gave
talked
that a
about that already.
go. 2 million copies on Steam. That was an old article, so I imagine that is probably more than that. Over 8 million users on PlayStation Plus because it's free over on PlayStation Plus. Turns out it's getting some really big news, and a lot of people are playing it, and I think more people should play it. And this coming from a small studio that I have never heard of, that's kind of a huge deal.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're also gonna need help. There's already rampant cheating on PC as well,
oh
with
yes,
being able to boost your speeds and different things. So
we're the
again,
best
with
cheaters
with
on
anything that
PC.
comes on the PC, if you leave it client side, you might as well just punch yourself in the pants. I mean, the Division figured that out with the first game
Oh
when they put
yes.
that out because there was just rampant cheating because some genius was like, let's put it on client side on the PC. No one will notice, right?
Yeah, but
um,
people notice that. So yeah,
yeah.
congratulations to those guys. That's a fun game. So yeah, there's cheating in every PC game. Well, I guess there's a lot of things to prevent people from cheating in Valorant, but that we totally get it. There's going to be cheating. People are going to try. People are going to farm gold in World of Warcraft and sell it to you. So a lot of those people suck. All right.
hmm
Moving on, Devin, our next thing. This is something that we kind of had like a heated debate about in our Discord, which kind of scared me, right? It always scares me when we have heated debates in our Discord. So Control is Control is a game that everyone knows that I love. I love that game. I think it's amazing. The Alan Wake expansion. I'm just calling it Alan Wake. It's really the Alter World event expansion is going to be coming out at the end of this month. But we also got news that there is going to be a Control Ultimate Edition. The interesting thing about this Ultimate Edition is that I wrote it down here. Where did I write it down? Okay. Um, I just lost my place, Devin. So it's
So you're talking about the free upgrade path for next gen consoles?
yes. Where? How come I'm not seeing? All right.
It's on
So
55.
the complete control package coming to current gen and next gen consoles as well as PC. And when we say P, yes, we're also talking about Steam. So it's finally coming into Steam. Our community have been keen to know more about the Steam edition of Control for some time now. So we're thrilled to finally be able to talk about it. Check out the trailer, blah, blah, blah. It's a really cool trailer that you can go check out. So it is going to come to Steam. Why do I not have the date on this? This is like terrible. This is like amateur hour over here that I don't
It's
have
August
the date
28th, I
written down.
believe.
Yeah, so I thought it was the 27th, but I could be wrong. All right, so the Control Ultimate Edition is going to give you access to Control on Xbox Series X and Nope. Why is
The
all
Ultimate
this
Edition
written
gives you the
weird?
full game, all the stuff you get in the season pass, the expansions, as well as the new update that's coming with the free update that comes with the AW that's coming out. So
All right, maybe we'll just cut out this whole thing since I've just botched this whole read through. All right, so what is in the Ultimate Edition? So you're going to get the base game, the Foundation expansion number 1, AWE expansion number 2, Expeditions, Endgame, and all of that. Michael,
you get
thanks for hanging
everything
out
that
with
you
us.
would get in the deluxe edition that people have already purchased.
Okay, so the release dates for the Ultimate Edition, August 27th on Steam. Then on September 10th, you'll get it on the Epic Game Store, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One digital. The end of 2020, PlayStation 4 and Xbox will get their physical edition. And the end of 2020, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X will get it on digital. If you purchase the game before this comes out, you will not be able to upgrade.
Yeah, you have to buy the game again.
If you buy the Control Ultimate Edition for Xbox One, you will be able to upgrade it. But for people like Devin and I who have purchased this game previously, we do not get the upgraded path. Granted, Devin and I both purchased it on PC.
Yep.
But people that have purchased it on PlayStation 4 and on Xbox, and a lot of people have, will not get that upgrade. Now, there's been a couple of different opinions on this. My opinion is, well, it did release a long time ago. It does take work to port these things over. Should they not get paid for that work that they're doing? Another opinion is, why are you charging me again for the game that I already bought? So
yeah, no, I mean, they're just calling it something else and selling it to you again, even though it's the exact same thing that you've purchased already with the deluxe version, right? The deluxe edition that came out that came with the season pass and everything that's included in there. There's nothing different. They're just calling it the Ultimate Edition. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they had like a small, pay $10 to get the upgrade. That's more stomachable than buy the whole game over again instead of okay, we put work into this. If you want the next gen version, you can still play your current stuff on the next gen consoles without the upgrades and bells and whistles. But if you want those bells and whistles then you need to pay us like $10 because we put time and effort and it costs us money to create that version of it. I wouldn't mind that. But buying the whole game again when it's the exact same thing, like I purchased it on PC, I purchased the deluxe version, right? And so people on console who purchase the deluxe version, there's no difference than the ultimate version. It's just called a different thing.
So, as I think about this more, many times games come out with their gold edition, right? It boxes all the DLC. They put it out a couple years later and say, "Hey, this is our gold edition. You get it. You get all this stuff."
Yeah.
Granted, by the time this comes out, or by the time that we have next gen consoles, is it even going to matter? Because I'm going to play this on PC when I get it. I imagine people with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, when AWE drops, they will pay the $15 for that expansion, or they already bought it with the expansion the season pass. They'll already play it. So how many people are going to buy this and then be like, well, now I want to upgrade to the next gen when they've already played it? Because the game doesn't have a ton of replayability. It's not something that I've seen a lot of people going back to over and over again. So if you bought it on PS4 and Xbox, were you going to be like, hey, now I want to play this over here? I guess I'm not sure where that Venn diagram meets of people that are like, I'm gonna play this now, and now I want to play it again on my Series X. Granted, you are going to get the ray tracing stuff, so that would make your experience different. But even the ray tracing now, as cool as I think it is, like I don't think it takes away from your experience if you don't have it. It
Yeah,
adds
like
to it, but it doesn't make that game any less cool.
I don't think it's a problem. I think so. The biggest thing is I don't know how many people are gonna go replay it. It just has a bad look to it, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately that's all it does. And I don't know. I was just it's like yeah, I don't need to worry about that because I have it on PC. But um, sure, once I get a new computer, build a new computer and that has ray tracing capabilities. I mean, I could do ray tracing, but it runs at like 20 frames per second on my 1080 Ti because it's not built for that, you know.
Right.
But I'd be like, yeah, cool, let's go check it out. But I don't know. I think it just overall it just gives a bad outlook and looks bad, to a
It
lot of
sets a
people.
weird precedent.
Yeah, it's just like
And,
buy our full game again if you want to play it on next gen.
and granted, this is one of those things that happens during like console generations, like at the end of an old generation, the beginning of a new one. Weird things like this are going to happen. Like 2K said that they were going to charge $70, and they think they've kind of backpedaled that. So weird things are going to happen during this time. Like it, and for me, I'm like, hey, go give those guys more money because they deserve it. They made an awesome game. But also, it's like, yeah, but it sucks that you're going to charge these people again for the game that they already bought just to port it over. Anyway, the other cool things that we have found out, and this is something that I definitely will support, is that there is going to be the art and making of Control book that is going to be released this December. I love the art books of video games that I love. I love like reading through all the different descriptions, things that they went through. That's what this book is. The book is $60, which I think is funny that the art book is the same price as a game when you consider how much work goes into a game. Like I know a lot of work goes into art, but when you're like, man, this took like hundreds of people like 5 years to build, and we're going to charge it the same amount as this book that we're selling. I just think that's a weird thing that happens, with stuff like this. So this art book is coming out in December. It's super cool. And the last thing that I wanted to say about this is that today they had a stream where they were showing off the first 15 minutes of the Alter World event campaign storyline. I didn't watch it because I didn't want to be spoiled. But one thing that did come out of that is they say that this is the final expansion for Control, which is super disappointing to me. But I don't know why I'm disappointed because I don't know what I was expecting.
I mean,
Because
you're probably hoping they're going to continue to make expansions and continue to expand the world, which I think they can do, but they also need to get that team focused on whatever they're doing next for, Control or whatever the other games that they're making. I think they have like 3 or 4 studios within Remedy, like teams doing stuff, which
yeah.
I think is crazy. But
And they recently announced that their games are part of a connected universe. It's
yeah,
called the Remedy Connected Universe. So they're going MCU. Everything's connected. They're going to pull a Brando Sando on us. So what they're going to do is they already have one in development that is part of this world. Also, I don't know what they're doing with Alan Wake. I don't know what's going on there. But it is also possible that there's going to be a Control 2 that they're moving on to, which is fine for me because I think it'd be cool to see like updated stuff, updated engine, or whatever they're going to add to that. But it just makes me sad because I love the game so much that it's like, oh, they are going to stop making stuff. But again, I have always been a fan of people that tell a story, tell the ending of their story, and that they're okay with that instead of trying to like push the horse down the road when the horse is just like ready to die, right? I would much rather them like say, hey, this is the end of the cool story that we made. This is it, and not try to just follow that cash grab. So on one hand, I'm sad because there's an end of it, but also it's like it's been a super cool story, and I'm glad that I'm glad it's been as cool as it has been because a lot of new IPs like kind of fail and they don't end up being as cool as Control is. So I guess that's why I'm excited for it, but also
yeah.
sad, Devin.
I mean, I enjoyed Control. I haven't played the expansion. I just need to find time to play the expansions. I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun to play, and but I don't know. I mean, I look forward to seeing what they're doing. I mean, the next thing they're putting out is that Crossfire X campaign.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let me push the button here. So I don't know if this is interesting to you at all, Devin, but Rocksteady announced the Suicide Squad game. Is this something that's even on your radar?
No, not really. I mean, I'm not. I mean, they're saying like it's supposed to be Suicide Squad tries to kill Superman, and I'm not really interested in that at all. And I'm not. I mean, I watched the movie and the movie sucked. So that doesn't like give me any hope
Hope.
for the actual. I mean, yes, I know obviously it's different, and they can do completely different things, but the whole idea of the misfits and outlaws and whatever, that just doesn't appeal to me. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Rocksteady finally announced the thing after. I mean, it's how long has it been since Rocksteady has put out a game? It has to have been.
I don't know. It's several years since they put out a Batman game.
And there was always rumors that it was going to be a Superman game, but yeah, now it's going to be a Suicide Squad game, and this
Still
will be
have
another game
Superman
that
in
I
it.
skip because, well, I think it's either going to be like a Superman is like possessed or it's Bizarro, but there's a bunch of hints in there that it's not like actually Superman.
I mean, I guess we'll
But
find out next
anyway,
week when they show it off. So
yeah, I guess someone will be excited for that. Do you want to talk about this Fortnite thing?
I mean, you can if you want. I don't really care about it much, but
I guess the one thing that's interesting about it is that this all happened like Katie says no, don't talk about the Fortnite thing. Oh, she doesn't like Fortnite. We'll frame it like Epic. All right, so Epic lowers their V-Bucks price in the Google Store for Fortnite and in the Apple Store. They did this on purpose because it was going to prompt a reaction from Apple
well,
and from
that's not
Google.
that's not exactly what they did. Was put in an update that bypasses their stores, so they don't.
Right, in their
Yeah. So it's not just that they lowered what V-Bucks versus price. It was they bypassed the stores that
yeah, so
they're required to use.
they had a price to pay for, like it had like Apple price and then it had discounted price. So you could pay like $10 to get your V-Bucks through Apple, and on that same store it had like the discounted price through Epic. So of course no one's going to buy $10, so they're going to bypass that price and they're going to get all that money. So Apple reacted because it's against their terms of service to do such a thing. So they kicked them out of the store. Google followed afterwards. Very soon after, almost like it was a prepared, coordinated action.
Oh, it's
by
100% coordinated.
Yeah. So then Epic mocks them with a little trailer that they built from the classic Apple commercial, 1984. They spoof that, saying that, hey, Apple's like the overlords, they're controlling everything, and we need to fight back against the Apple man. And then soon after that, Epic starts to sue Apple. Epic sues Apple. So this is going to be a really long, ongoing legal thing. I think it's really interesting. This was another one of those conversations in the Discord that I got scared about having, because I think Devin was like ready to come through the internet and like punch people in the face. I didn't know he was this passionate about Epic, but apparently he is.
I don't really care that it's Epic. It's just in general. So,
like, which part in general do you not like?
So the in general is like Apple paid everything. They did all the upfront work to create, the iPhone, the ecosystem, everything else, the App Store, all that stuff. They're the ones that pay for all that. They're the ones that continue to pay for it, for the upkeep and keeping that going. And Epic is just using that storefront for their game, right? And so, I mean, that's why I said, I respect Epic on the fact that they made their own storefront because they didn't like what Valve was doing with Steam and the price, and so they can do that. But you can't complain about, somebody else's. I mean, you can complain. It doesn't matter. But I mean, they're trying to change the rules from somebody else and take profit away from Apple when they're using Apple's products and services. It's like if you want to charge a lower price, make your own phone, make your own ecosystem, make all that stuff yourself, and put up the money, get your skin in the game, just like you did with your store on PC. And otherwise, I mean, that's they have to. It's a business. They have to make money to be able to run everything. And so that's what frustrates me, because it's just like people thinking that they deserve more money because, like, oh, look, I did all this work. I deserve all the money from this. It's like, no, you didn't pay for everything to create everything that's here, or the upkeep or anything else. So while you get paid $20 an hour and we make $30 or $40, you shouldn't get everything because it costs money for everything else on top of what you get paid. So
you're saying that if I want to set up a snow cone stand at your basketball court, I have to pay you a fee to use your basketball court, because
Yeah.
that's where all the people are.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you're coming here to take advantage of what we're bringing to the table and all those people, so you're gonna have to pay a fee. They take a 30% cut, which is pretty much standard, for everybody else that publishes game or you put it on their ecosystem. So they,
and it's only standard because people like money and they don't want to lower that because then they'll receive less money.
yeah,
And I totally agree with you. Like it's their court. You have to play ball, so you either put up or you shut up, right?
yeah,
Or Epic is deciding like they're just going to be a disruptor, which is fine. I think every market needs disruptors because if there are no disruptors, then those prices will stay the same for forever and nothing will change. There needs to be innovation and there needs to be competition. Granted, when you go up against someone like Steam is a juggernaut. They will always be at the top, very much like Apple is a juggernaut. So, like, it's hard if you're someone like Epic who's like, hey, we want more money to go back to developers, right? That's the thing that they're saying a lot. Granted, the more developers they have developing for them, the more money they receive also.
yeah,
Like the more successful games under Epic's umbrellas means more money for them. Eventually, like, and it's a super pessimistic thing to like think about like, okay, only everyone is interested in money. Like maybe I'm sure that there are some people in the industry that are like, I just want to see people be successful, right? There are people like that. They're few and far in between. But there are people that just want people to like make rad games and get paid for them. So it's just an interesting topic of conversation that, yeah, you can totally see Apple's side. It's their court, even though they make some of the dumbest decisions and a lot of their things are backwards and they have crappy games on it, even though they're telling Microsoft, hey, you can't put xCloud over here because we can't review your games. It's like we have the ESRB. It's like, come
yeah.
on, son. You have all this other stuff with crappy content on it, and you're like, oh, you can allow all this stuff, but you won't allow xCloud? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
come
it's
on.
definitely interesting in that regards. Because I mean, that's kind of two different things. Because they also have streaming services. They have Amazon Prime. They have Netflix. They don't review and rate every single product that's on that streaming service. So what's the difference between streaming a video and streaming a game? Right. I guess the big difference is again that if you can get into that ecosystem, you can buy something through there. I think that's where the problem again lies, is not just the streaming of the game, but because you could buy something from the xCloud store, and it wouldn't go through Apple's system and they wouldn't get their cut. So again, I think that's an issue that could certainly be worked out, but how they would work it out, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that like Epic. This is like the first time someone's like standing up to like these big companies, and whether it's for like just a show of force or just to like say, hey, look at us guys, look how cool we are, we care about you as
Yeah, I mean they don't care
consumers.
about us, but uh, I mean it's going to be a huge loss in revenue because they're off of both the Android store and the Apple store, and like off of iOS alone on the Apple store, they were making $50+ million off of microtransactions a month, from Fortnite. So
And eventually, when you have that kind of money, like, does it matter? I mean, is like the higher ground? I mean, obviously, like if it was all about the money, they wouldn't have done this, right? Because they're going to lose money. So there has to be like something that they know that the rest of us don't know that they're making this move for, or it's like, hey, we really think it should be like this,
mhm.
and even if we lose millions of dollars, we're gonna like stick to our guns because we think it should be different. And if it is that, like, more power to them, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to take a while, so I hope they're prepared for that. But because I don't know. I
I don't
guess
know, Devin.
they're going for brand loyalty for their game over the phones. So
And granted, it is the biggest game like ever. So, I mean, there is some loyalty there, but also even like I was thinking about like this week, it's like, yeah, maybe I really do need to just like switch off of Apple and just go pick me up an Android phone so I can play xCloud and do other stuff there. Because, I mean, if that's where the stuff that I want to play is, then that's what I have to do, right? I have to speak with my wallet. I have to speak with my wallet as a consumer. So,
yeah, well, and I had thought about the same thing, but then it's like, well, I have all my kids who use iPads. They use, we have iTunes, have, all this stuff. I'm invested in the Apple ecosystem. And so it's like, well, if I switch to that, then it's going to be a pain for me. I've gotten all my family to get iPhones and everything else because they're like, well, how do we use this function? How do we use this? And then it's like, if I'm on a different phone ecosystem and everything else, so I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth the hassle and how much am I going to be gaming, on it. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to play, but
But also, you don't lose all that stuff. I mean, it's not like if you just buy one phone, like you have to throw all your Apple stuff away. I don't think that's
no,
how it works
I
anyway.
don't. But it's just a hassle. Like if I have to carry a whole nother device or something else, because if my kids want more time or different things, it sends an alert to my phone.
It's just like, all right, it's all you, wifey. It's all you now. You're gonna have to learn how to do this, so I have to stop doing it. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right, let's move on. Oh, I'm sure she could work it out, Devin. She's a smart lady.
She
All
could.
right, shall we
She's
move
just
on
gonna
and
say no.
It's gonna say no. Yeah. All right. So then I guess other than that, like there's not a lot of other news that I really wanted to talk about. Other than
I'm excited, for the
see.
next gen graphics cards that are coming out.
Well, hit us with the info on the graphics card then.
Well, I mean, there's not a ton of info, but they're supposed. The rumor is, they're both announcing in September and coming out in September. But by both I mean Nvidia and AMD, right? So Nvidia has confirmed it. They already have a countdown that's counting down, and they're gonna have a big show on September 1st, and where they're gonna announce the next, leap in graphics cards and GPUs. And
How much do you think it's going to be?
I think it's gonna be close to the same price as it is now. They might lower their price some once AMD comes out, and so the thing is with AMD, they might have more power, but I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with like DLSS and ray tracing right now, because that's going to be they're already on second generation versions of those for Nvidia, and so AMD's playing catch up. But they'll at least be able to have their own kind of versions and be cheaper, and so that will help lower the cost for Nvidia cards. But I don't know. I mean, it should be interesting. They're supposed to come out along with new CPUs from AMD as well next month. So there's a lot of cool new stuff. I'm thinking about building my new computer next tax season. So we'll see.
If the world exists,
If the world
point,
still
and there are
exists
taxes,
after
and if
next
there are
year.
taxes, maybe we'll all just no more taxes. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I would be really surprised if they're the same price as a 2080 Ti. I don't know anyone that like would spend that much money on a 2080 Ti. $1,200 is a lot of money for a graphics card that you really didn't need at that time when the 1080 was still like the powerhouse and doing everything that it could and everything that it needed to. But I don't know. That's a high price. I mean, those prices skyrocketed because the whole Bitcoin boom, and that's kind of like tapered off. So
Yeah, well,
if
and
no
that,
one's
and there
really
was no
using those
competition,
anymore,
so they could charge whatever they
right?
wanted. So
And people like some people who bought those and like kind of maybe a little regret it, but not that much. It's like it can't be $1,200 is a lot, man. And if they charge that again, and it just sets that precedent that this is the price for forever. Like, hopefully there's a price battle going on that we need Epic to be like, hey, no one gonna spend this much money on a graphics card. We'll
you
make our
shouldn't
own
have
graphics
to
card
spend this much money
$400.
to buy these
And it's
goods. No, I think it's going
those
to be
are
interesting,
expensive goods.
right? I mean, it's the first time in a while that they're changing die size. It's shrinking in die size. So they're bringing out a lot of new technology. I'm certainly interested because it'll be almost 5 years by the time next year comes around for when I built my computer. So
And it's still going strong. I mean,
yeah,
that's
I mean
pretty good return on investment.
it's still doing great. I can still play a lot of games in 4K. With over 60 frames per second. I just can't do any ray
Whatever.
tracing.
We learned that you don't play any games anyway, Devin, except for Halo on the Xbox. So
Well, I play Halo on PC as well, and but yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I would like, that's one good thing. Another thing that I thought was good about the delay for Halo Infinite was, oh well, and I can build my new computer before then. That will just destroy the Series X, but
very true.
so
Yeah. Cool. So the other things that we were going to talk about, let's see, about the Cyberpunk 2077 stuff. I'm not really excited about Cyberpunk 2077. I'll pick it up and I'll play it, but I'm not like super hyped about it. I don't really know why I'm not super hyped about it. Devin, are you like super hyped about it, or
For
is it
me,
just like
I'm
whatever at
still
this point?
hesitant until I can truly confirm, like specific like censoring features. So
Oh, I think that was confirmed that you can totally turn off all the nudity.
I mean, I know they talked, like outlets talked about it, but until like CD Projekt Red comes out and is like, yeah, this is you can do this, that kind of stuff. Because I just want to be able to play the game and not have to worry about when my kids walk by or something. Um,
Granted, there's going to be like massive amounts of murder in that game also.
well, I mean, you don't have to kill people. They said as well, you can go through the whole game without killing a person, which is going to be crazy.
What do you think the chances are that that's actually true?
For me,
Like, you just
not
don't
even
have to kill
possible.
anyone.
But
yeah, like okay. It's like
It's-
I know games are like you don't have to kill anyone in this game. It's like, yeah, it's a Cyberpunk game, and you've been showing us a lot of killing in all of these trailers.
Well, and it's like even Red Dead Redemption 2 or those games where it's like you're just walking through the town, you're like, "What'd you say to me?" And it's just like, "All right, you can run your mouth. Well, you're dead now." It's like,
You went to say hi and you accidentally shot him in the face.
like,
Like,
hey,
oh, come
oh
on.
shoot.
I did not mean to do that.
What'd you
All
say
right, so
about
the
my
Cyberpunk
horse?
thing, yeah. Second Extinction comes to early access in September. This is the Turok Jurassic Park looking game, so that's going to be playable soon.
So I mean, they sent emails, right? So that was supposed to be, we were gonna have a technical beta / alpha, and they're like, instead we're gonna go to early access, and so for everybody that signed up, they're giving you some free content for the game, that you get in there. I mean, the game looked interesting, but it also, like, when they showed off a couple of their early gameplays and stuff,
it did not look good.
No, it did not look good. It's really empty. And that's, I guess honestly, like, the biggest game I'm kind of looking forward to this fall is, obviously we're gonna get Godfall on PC, and Outriders is another one that I'm looking forward to. So I don't know. I mean, I have 4 games that are gonna be taking up my time this fall, between Godfall, Outriders, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and
That's going to be a long one.
Cyberpunk. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. This a couple of those are multiplayer, but
yeah,
I'm just be like, I'm sorry guys, I don't play games with you anymore. You only have an Xbox. Sorry.
I mean, like, when was the last time we played games together? I mean,
It was like
years.
a couple weeks
It's
ago.
gotta been like
What are you talking about?
9 years. All right. So let's go ahead and, Devin, we're going to go ahead and close out this news section. We'll go ahead and do that with a random news clip from, who's it going to be this time?
Have you ever gone fishing with your son?
Yes. Have you, Devin? Have you ever gone fishing with your son?
In Sea of Thieves, I have many times.
You've never gone fishing in real life?
No, I have not.
You have not, like,
Not with my
have you ever gone
sons,
fishing
no.
before that? Well,
Yeah, I've been
okay.
fishing
Like,
several times. So I'll tell you, the last time I went fishing, right? This was the last time I went, like, fishing in a river, right? I've been fishing in, like,
Okay.
in the ocean since then,
Yeah.
but, like, freshwater fishing. It was wintertime, and we were using the floats, where you float down the rivers here locally. And I was going with one of my dad's friends, because my dad didn't really like fishing, but he did, and I wanted to go fishing, so I went with him. And but I was using his son's waders, and his son was actually shorter than I am, which I'm only 5'7",
surprising.
so
Yeah.
so we're going down, and the water just goes right down my floaters, and it's snowing. We're floating through the river.
Oh,
It's
my
cold,
gosh.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks so bad.
Because it's not like you can just get out and go, like, get in the truck and drive away.
Yeah, and because this guy, he was like super committed. He's there for 8 hours. Like, that's, you're just there. Doesn't matter unless you're gonna die.
Which you could have.
I could have. So we're like fishing for a while, and I'm like freezing, and so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the truck and warm up. And so I get the tube off and stuff, but then I slip on rocks and fall in, and so then I'm wet from head to toe, and I'm just like, oh, this is the worst ever. And I get back to his truck, and I can't get his truck to start, right? And so I am sitting in his truck for like 3.5 hours, just
Oh my gosh.
shivering, you know, because I am soaking wet. And he finally comes over there because it started like snowing really bad. And so he's like, all right, I guess I'll stop. And he was like, oh, all you had to, because it was a manual. And at the time his truck, you had to put it in neutral to start it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, because it was like 9 or 8, and I didn't learn to drive till I was 10. So,
Yeah, so you're still 2 years away from learning how to drive. So
yeah. But so, I mean, that was the last time I went like freshwater fishing because I was like, I hate this crap, because bad experience. But I mean, I like fishing on a boat in the ocean. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Catch big fish and have a good time. But yeah, so I have not taken my children fishing. They have not expressed an interest in going fishing, but I might next year because next year I'm actually going. I've committed to going on a week-long backpacking trip with my middle son, who's will be 9 by then. But so it's going to be interesting.
Very cool. Do you guys know where you're going hiking at?
Not yet. No.
That'll be fun.
Maybe if we
Good
can
luck.
even go. I don't know. It's like,
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to go outside wherever you go.
I mean, we can go outside. I just have to be limited to the state we're in now because I can't leave the state due to my wife's work requirements that family and her can't leave the state, or you have to be quarantined for 2
Oh.
weeks without pay. So,
Fair enough. So with that, I think we actually have a quiz that I think we'll save until a third person is here because we could quiz Devin, but I think it's more fun if there's another person here. So I think we'll save that until someone else comes back. And then with that, everyone, this has been episode 135 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, where we say
Your mission is to capture the Ark before you leave the airbase. Marauder Corps, weapons hot. Stand by for Titanfall.
And as we stand by for Titanfall,
what?
We'll see you next time.
You are listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network.